Did you know that most final expense sales come from door knocking the prospect's house with a direct mail lead card in hand? Matter of fact, guys, if you're new at final expense sales and you're not door knocking all your leads for the first couple of months, you probably already have one foot out the door and are thinking about doing something else. The truth is, our industry is a boots on the ground business. And it is absolutely my opinion, yeah, I've got a lot of those, that unless you're working at least 30 direct mail leads each week, you really have no business calling them anyway. I mean, 15 to 20 final expense direct mail leads each week, it's just not enough leads to keep you busy full time. It's not. Real quick, in this video, I'm going to show you the correct way to approach each house, for the door knock, the technique of proper door knocking, what to say when you're at the door, and how to deal with objections. People that try to get rid of you, or even if they just won't open the door. And guys, before we get started, if you stick around all the way to the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to get a copy of the Objections Super File. This thing has scripts that you can use to overcome objections while door knocking your leads, calling to set appointments, and even how to deal with objections while you're trying to close the sale. So let's roll the introduction and get this video happening. Doug Massi here, and if you're in the need of final expense sales training, I highly recommend watching the playlist called FE Training 101. It's linked right here, so you can always come back to this part of the video later. And this is when I'm going to ask you to give us a big old thumbs up and subscribe, so that you're notified each time we put out a new final expense sales training video. Let's talk about the correct way to approach each house, and I'm going to make a few suggestions about that. First, wear your company ID badge around your neck. And if you don't have one, just make one with a Word document. It's really not that hard. A professional looking ID tends to help you look a lot more official, and it might even help to keep people from messing with you, especially if you're out door knocking in potentially dangerous parts of town. Second, only approach the front door with your leads in hand, something to write your notes down on, and maybe a pen. I like to have the medical questions page with me too. I keep a bunch of them in the back. And third, yes, I do tend to give a little wave when I get out of the car, and I also will wave at the peephole a couple of times, while I'm standing there at the door knocking. I like to do the old tat-tat-tat-tat tot door knock. Okay, let's get into what to say when they actually come to the door. If for some reason they start asking you questions from the window or the other side of the door, I softly say, "It's Doug, I'm here with your benefits." I'll even point to the lead card. The key is not to raise your voice and comply with them. Get them to open the door. Take a couple steps back and say, "Hi Sandra, my office sent me here to go over the benefit information with you. This is the card you sent in." I'll then say something like, then I say, "It'll just take a few minutes to go over this with you," and I start motioning towards them as if they're inviting me in. Most of the time they will actually move to the side and open the door for you to come in. And this actually works with a printout of the final expense Facebook lead and even a printout of a telemarketed lead if you want to door knock with those. When using the telemarket lead to door knock, I'll point to the printout of the telemarket lead and say something like, "Remember you spoke with Tom Selleck on Thursday night. He told you that I'd be getting back to you. Man, you are a tough cookie to get a hold of." Now this is important. Before I get into the correct way to deal with any objection that they might actually throw your way, you need to understand something. Do I have your attention? When I lived in the Miami area, people were just kind of nasty. I mean, getting them to open the door was a chore in itself. Once Mariana and I started traveling around the state, really around the country, we realized that the rural areas, towns, and small cities were a lot easier to sell in. People that live in the big cities and major metros are just a lot harder to sell to than the people in those rural areas. It's this big city mentality. My point is, if you're having a hard time even getting in the door, assuming that you're competent, It could actually be that the area you're working is just a hard place to sell in. Thankfully, not all cities are like this. For instance, selling in Tampa, Florida is a lot easier than selling in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and they're both major metros. Well, sort of. So guess what? Yeah, part of your learning curve may actually be learning to find the easier places to sell in. For the agents that are on our direct mail leads program, I do have a way of helping them to find these better areas. So that way my agents can avoid the more difficult places. It's all about the data, baby. This kind of specific data targeting can only be done with direct mail leads, not the final expense telemarket leads, and no, you can't do it with the Facebook leads either. Just one more reason that the final expense direct mail lead is still the king of leads. If you're working direct mail leads paying around $35 each for each of those, and your upline manager isn't helping you to target specific areas that are more conducive for better final expense production, then you might not be with the best insurance agency. My guys are targeting the best markets with the easier places to sell, and they're getting all kinds of low-hanging fruit. Here's a couple more tips. 1, never let the prospect get rid of you with the premise of setting an appointment or calling them later at the front door. The knee-jerk reaction is always to get rid of the sales agent. Push your way in now. It doesn't matter what excuse they have. We're getting ready to leave. We got company. My wife's not feeling good. Now's just a bad time. Can you come back later? Whatever the excuse, let them know that you just drove a long way to get here. Jerry, you are impossible to get on the phone, brother. I'll tell you what, I'll give you the short version so that I can tell my boss that at least I did my job. And that way I don't have to drive back and forth. I'll make it short and sweet. Where can we sit down real quick? See how I kind of started walking towards them as I pushed my way in? And if they still don't let you in, just use the technique that is in that overcoming objections zip file that I mentioned earlier. And like I said, I'm going to show you how to get those very important scripts in a minute. And the last tip I'm going to give you, never mention the word life insurance at the front door. Just don't do it, bro. Look, nobody really wants to talk to a life insurance agent. Big freaking surprise there, right? Just be as vague as possible. Let them know you have the state-regulated benefit information that they requested. And once you're in the house making your presentation, take your time, even though you're giving them the short version, and don't even mention the words life insurance until well, I do it when I'm explaining the difference between whole life insurance and term life insurance. Literally, I mean, that's literally the only time that I mention the word life insurance. Never on the phone when setting appointments, never at the door while talking my way inside. For a copy of that objections super file that I mentioned earlier, just email me at doug@ufesonline.com. And guys, if you'd like information on being one of our contracted agents, which does give you higher commissions and access to the best direct mail leads program in the industry, just shoot me an email at that same address. Remember, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. Now, get out there and do something good for someone today. Happy hunting.